leave to get there in the end.
Great stuff, team. Thank you so much. And thanks for being with us. Look forward to seeing you next time on The Chase Australia.
Tonight, police enforce strict stay-at-home orders on the most important weekend of the year. Plus, just 13 new cases. Victoria winning the coronavirus war. But when will restrictions be eased? Easter with a difference, as Good Friday services are streamed to millions. The fine mess over a man's early morning car wash.
I said I'm washing my car up here with my dog.
A dire global warning. We're heading for the worst recession in 90 years. And despite the financial hardship, Victorians dig deep for the Royal Children's Hospital.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Mike Amor starts now.
Good evening. Health authorities warned this was the most crucial weekend in the fight against coronavirus. And police have been out in force across the state to enforce strict social distancing rules. Paul Dowsley has the very latest from Preston, where even protests are off limits, Paul.
Mike, police say they respect the right to protest, but for now it is illegal and health comes first. But today we've seen dozens of protesters here, and this is why. Up inside this building in Preston, a hotel, 40 to 60 refugees who have been brought here from Manus Island for medical assistance have been kept in these rooms for months at the Mantra in Preston. Protesters say it's inhumane, so when dozens of supporters gathered in cars and bikes this afternoon, police pounced. The protesters insist that you can leave your house for care and compassion reasons. But this afternoon, 26 fines were issued for breaching isolation laws, and one man was arrested, an organiser, and he is facing charges of inciting a protest and is still in police custody tonight. But these protesters aren't the only ones saying police are being unreasonably strict. Motorist Brian Jones gives police a spray for fining him at a car wash.
So what's your reason for being out at 1:15 in the morning washing your car?
Because I work in essential services. I'm working 12 to 14 hour days and I don't get a time to wash the bastard. That's my reason.
The food truck driver was in Hoppers Crossing early yesterday morning and copped a $1,652 fine.
So I'll send you a ticket tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'll throw it in the bin.
Today, a backflip. Police withdrew Mr Jones' car wash fine, conceding their officers made a mistake, saying if a commercial premises has not been directed to close, members of the community are allowed to visit. But there's no confusion on the Great Ocean Road, where there were fears holidaymakers would sneak into towns. Instead, they stayed at home.
It's a ghost town. It's got an eerie feeling to it.
As police continued to patrol for isolation breaches, locals enjoyed Good Friday, surfing, strolling, swimming, snorkelling and the serenity.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It doesn't look like Easter, does it?
Camping sites were abandoned and shops quiet. This was Lorne last year. Thousands there for one of the town's biggest weekends. Today, just a few were enjoying the beach and they were exercising alone.
Now it's paradise. It's paradise because it's ours. It's like just ours. People are being good and staying away.
Even businesses accepted the downturn, understanding public health comes first.
It's nice to be able to talk to every customer. When you're really flat out, all you do is get people that want their coffee now.
Speechless. It's generally our busiest 4 days of the year, and it'll be the quietest 4 days of the year.
This is the best way to see just how successful the stay home message from police and locals on the Surf Coast has been. The Great Ocean Road, now the Great Empty Road. It was quiet in the city too, with exercise now an excuse to get out of the house, and on the other side of the bay at Sorrento. But police across the state have still been busy. In the 24 hours to 11 last night, police checked 754 homes, businesses and non-essential services and issued 98 more fines. The total so far, more than 18,000 spot checks. Among those booked, 9 youths having a private gathering and a man who'd been warned 4 times because he was out of home without a valid reason. On the 5th time, he was fined.
I think the people that haven't obeyed, there's something really wrong with them.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
There's more evidence tonight. Victoria is winning the war against COVID-19 with just 13 new cases recorded. The number of people in hospital is also down, but experts warn it will still be many weeks before restrictions are eased.
It's a Good Friday we've never seen before, and overall, health experts are amazed at how quickly Victorians have adapted to a new way of life. And it's working.
Yeah, I am really pleasantly surprised because if you look at other countries like Singapore, it's still on the rise. But for us, we are definitely getting a plateau, and it's really quite clear that that's the case.
A man in his 80s died overnight, taking our death toll to 13. But Victoria recorded just 13 new cases of coronavirus over the past 24 hours. It's the lowest number since March the 15th. Our growth has been in steady decline for a week. 2,000 ventilators are about to be built by a Melbourne company which has rapidly organised a unique consortium.
Automotive, aerospace and high-tech engineering companies who can produce these sort of precision components that we need in the ventilator.
But on current case numbers, they may not be needed, which begs the question, when will restrictions be lifted?
Within inside Australia, I could see a scenario that we are actually starting to relax the social distancing measures, but we're still quite a few weeks away.
Until then, help has been offered for our most vulnerable, new pop-up shelters for the homeless to self-isolate, and, like returned travellers, offering hotel rooms as emergency accommodation for domestic violence victims.
When it's not safe to isolate at home and when it's not safe to recover at home, it gives us the flexibility to be able to act nimbly and quickly in those most urgent of situations.
While Victoria's made huge gains in recent weeks, in many areas overseas the virus remains out of control. It means that while the rules here may be relaxed later this year, the international travel bans may not be lifted until a vaccine is found.
You don't want to actually open the doors of the tent if there's way more virus outside of the tent than inside the tent.
Laurel Irving, 7 News.
It's been a very different Good Friday and one we're likely never to forget. Online church services were beamed across Melbourne as family traditions took on a new look.
A Good Friday unlike any other. One of the holiest days on the Christian calendar, and for the first time in living memory, there were no congregations. St Patrick's Cathedral empty, but for one worshipper who stood outside alone. The annual pilgrimage through the city for the Way of the Cross was a virtual tour as religious leaders everywhere moved their Easter services online.
It's a huge time for everybody right now. And many of us, both individually and as a church, impacted.
A common theme, shared hardship brought on by the worldwide pandemic, and a call by all to take care of each other.
If you've got it, you can share it. And that's what it's all about. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Father Bob's message today was also on the importance of connecting through the digital world as he launches a new campaign to fund internet access for those who are in isolation without it.
What we would love to do is to raise money, a lot of money, so that we can provide the facility and help people to get over digital poverty.
Also fundraising, but without the usual colour and fanfare, the Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday appeal is this year inviting donations through a virtual tin rattle.
Everyone's finding it the same, really. Very strange, some more challenging than the others. But, I think Victorians still hold a special place for the Royal Children's Hospital.
From new ways of doing things to new traditions. Families across Melbourne spent a quieter day together, rediscovering the simple joys, even getting in a little practice at egg hunts before Sunday. And of course, having fish and chips for dinner is a very popular tradition on Good Friday, with many people choosing not to eat meat today, but even that's being done very differently this year. As you'll see behind me, some socially distanced seating has been set up for patrons forced to wait outside. Mike.
Christy, thank you. Hundreds of Australians are finally back home tonight after virus lockdowns left them stranded across South America. But many others are still scrambling to find a way back.
When they left, the world was different. Back in Melbourne, Australians stranded in Peru as COVID-19 closed world travel, now evacuated and into quarantine. Mervyn Soong wishes he was with them.
I've been in full 24-hour isolation here for about 11 days now, I think.
The 27-year-old from Perth forced to stay in his hotel room in Cusco, Peru. Last month, Australia urged holidaying citizens to come home.
So we've been very clear in our warnings and our advice.
We were already in lockdown when the warnings came out, so we had no chance of leaving.
Now he's missed the Melbourne flight and is far from sure he can catch another early next week.
I've been feeling so hopeless.
We've seen the European Union, we've seen Canada all act before the Australian government.
The government insists it is working to bring them home, but it's complicated, not least by the fact that when they get back, here they're considered as high risk.
Most of the cases that we've seen so far have and still remain related to overseas travel.
The government is organising flights from South America and South Africa, others resorting to private flights out of India, as Australians take what option they can to make it home.
I can't wait to get home.
Tim Lester, 7 News.
In breaking news, the politician at the centre of a social distancing scandal has just announced his resignation. New South Wales Minister Don Harwin was fined $1,000, just a fraction of his $345,000 salary, for going to his holiday home. Coronavirus has forced Virgin Australia to cancel all but 2 of its flights. The airline will now operate just 1 daily return service from Sydney to Melbourne. It's the latest drastic action taken by the airline, which has stood down 80% of its staff. The new schedule is expected to be in place until the middle of June. Prestigious private schools say they're being forced to stand down staff as the financial impact of the crisis hits hard. 50 staff at Haileybury College have been told they aren't required, while all pay rises and bonuses have been cancelled. Some teachers at Peninsula Grammar have also been stood down. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is tonight out of intensive care and expected to face a month-long recovery. He remains in hospital as his country suffers through another devastating day.
Above an empty Piccadilly Circus, they're showing the Queen's message of hope as her Prime Minister remains in intensive care. Boris Johnson nearly a fortnight into his fight with COVID-19, a fight his colleagues believe he's winning.
He has been sitting up in bed and engaging positively with the clinical team.
Surviving coronavirus is seen as an achievement worth celebrating. Hilton Murray Phillipson spent 12 days in hospital, 5 days in intensive care on a ventilator.
You do begin to doubt whether you can go on, how much longer you can take it.
So many in the UK are not surviving. 938 people died from the virus in the UK in the last 24 hours. The deadliest day so far, even worse than Italy at its peak. While Boris Johnson remains in hospital here, the job of government continues just across the River Thames, and key calls are coming up. Is the lockdown strategy working here, and when will it be lifted? From the World Health Organization,
now is not the time to relax measures.
The Royals are trying to show the UK that work needs to change. Shifting duties online, calling children of frontline workers who are still at school.
What have you been doing? Oh wow, look at that.
Look at your flowers, they're brilliant.
Smiles and the certainty of the Royals in an ever-changing world. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
The world is heading for its worst recession since the Great Depression. That's a sobering prediction from the IMF. It comes as the corona crisis wreaks havoc in the United States, where more than 17 million people are now jobless.
Thousands of lives, millions of jobs. The economic toll of COVID-19 laid bare at welfare offices across America. Another 6.6 million joined the queue in the last 7 days, an unprecedented near 17 million jobs lost in the last 3 weeks alone, forcing the Federal Reserve to stage a massive financial rescue.
I've never seen anything like this.
Pumping trillions into the economy.
This is what the great fiscal power of the United States is for.
The monetary might enough to shore up Wall Street, capping its best week in 45 years. Not enough to convince the International Monetary Fund, warning the virus will cause the worst recession since the Great Depression. On a weekend meant to celebrate new life, the governor here in New York is staring down the reality that his city is simply overwhelmed by death. A situation so dire, he's now calling in funeral directors from around the country. With dwindling morgue space, the city has shortened the time it will hold unclaimed remains before they're buried in a lonely mass grave at Hart Island.
If you ever told me that as governor I would have to take these actions, I couldn't even contemplate where we are now. And to put all of this in perspective, I lived through 9/11.
This death toll now more than twice that of the terrorist attack. In New York, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
Generous Victorians are still digging deep for the Good Friday appeal despite financial hardship. Melina Saras is here with an update on this year's telly. Good evening, Mel.
Mike, the telethon and the all-day broadcast weren't possible given the current restrictions, but people have been donating generously through the Good Friday Appeal website, and the current tally is $5,374,532. A few footy stars who would usually be playing in the Good Friday Kick for the Kids match have sent messages to the patients and surprised some very special fans.
I hope you and the family have a good Easter. Stay safe and eat lots of choppy eggs.
If you can support the Good Friday Appeal during this difficult time, make sure that you do.
Our thoughts are with all the families and all the children who are regular visitors of the Royal Children's Hospital.
A 1-hour Good Friday Appeal special will air straight after the news tonight at 7 p.m, celebrating all the amazing work of the Royal Children's Hospital. Mike.
Thanks, Mel. Food delivery giants are resisting calls to cut their profit margins as demand surges during the coronavirus lockdown. Frustrated small business owners telling 7 News they're in a no-win situation.
One after another, delivery drivers turning up in their droves. They're feeding Melburnians in lockdown at a hefty price.
They're taking 30-40% and piggybacking everyone else's hard work and success.
The frustration of business owners is building as companies like Uber Eats and Deliveroo cash in. Now, cafe owners are calling for the profit margins of the delivery giants to be lowered.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But is it going to happen? Highly unlikely. On public holidays, it's certainly not worth our while to run with Uber Eats just because our staff get paid double.
Online food delivery is a booming industry in the shutdown. Spending has soared 63% in the past week. But in a statement, Uber Eats told 7 News altering its commission structure could ultimately hurt those that we're trying to help the most: small business, their customers and delivery partners.
Usually I used to get for $100 a day. Now it's like $150 a day.
It's not just the delivery fee which is getting under the skin of business owners. They claim the quality of their product diminishes as a result.
Apart from that, then everything always turns up cold. You know, it's like getting Mexican delivered in Uber Eats. You can guarantee they're not going to be crispy nachos anymore, you know.
Tom Chadwick, 7 News.
Jackie Felgate's here with a preview of sport, and Jack, Charlie Curnow is determined to play a role in 2020.
Yes, Mike, hello. The Carlton star breaks his silence on his much publicised knee troubles. Find out why the Blues goal kicker is confident his 2020 isn't done and dusted. Plus, the Hawk star putting on a shutdown clinic as Scott Pendlebury looks set for a makeover. And the NRL caught out after an embarrassing oversight. All that and plenty more coming up later in sport.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Jack. Up next, a new clue into the shock death of a baby in Melbourne southeast. A live report is coming up. Plus, why these Australians are making a mad dash home. And Aussie first, the coronavirus test results delivered in under an hour. And how a Melbourne couple pulled off their dream wedding in just 24 hours.
Seven News, brought to you by Industry Superfunds.
There's only one thing to look for. Choose a super fund with this symbol.
We're all in this together.
Sunday is the night. The Gold Coast penthouse is complete.
Good job, Mumsy.
So proud of us. The final penthouse reveals are here.
I love this.
Really sophisticated.
This is stunning.
Who will get their home fully renovated?
You will receive a home renovation.
The Gold Coast Penthouse final reveals. House rules Sunday at 7 on 7.
These are challenging times. We understand how important it is to keep you, your family and your community up to date with all that's going on. So we're giving you 4 weeks free digital access to news you can trust. Now you can stay connected to breaking news and updates on health, finances and lifestyle information that affects you. Free. Search Herald Sun Offer. When it matters most, we're for you.
An important message from the Victorian Government about coronavirus. Stage 3 restrictions are now in place. That means there are only 4 reasons to be out: shopping for food and supplies that you need, exercise, medical care and caregiving, and work and education if necessary. Stay home, protect our health system, save lives. Victorian Government, managing this together.
Right now, we can't do the things we love in the places we love. So until we can all get back out on the road, please stay in and stay safe.
Craving fresh? Get free delivery with Subway on Uber Eats. Fresh delivered free. As if you didn't need a reason to stay in already. Just use the promo code SUBWAY@HOME. Subway.
Olay was put to the ultimate MRI test. The MRI proved Olay intensely hydrates your skin for a plumper, firmer and more radiant glow. See the results in 28 days. Olay.
If the unexpected happens, capture it and lodge a quick and easy online claim with Amy.
Mikey's actually in the room.
You're with Amy.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
There are fresh clues in the search to find the mother of a baby found dead at Seaford Beach. Tegan Doling is tracking developments for us tonight. And Tegan, investigators have narrowed down the time frame of the baby's death.
Mike, police hold grave concerns for the health and welfare of the baby's mother. They have been able to narrow down a time frame when they believe the little girl was dumped down here on the beach. They think it may have been on Monday between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Now, they really need this mother to get in touch. They have very little to go on at the moment, and they want to stress that her well-being is of their primary focus. Down here at the moment, we are on a walkway down to the beach. There is a floral shrine that has been beginning to grow. We can see some flowers, teddy bears and also a letter. The little girl's body was found on Wednesday afternoon just down on the beach by a passerby. Mike.
Dreadful story. Tegan Doling, live for us in Seaford. Thank you. Dozens of Australians are about to touch down on home soil after a Mercy flight from Los Angeles to Brisbane. The Virgin plane's carrying 50 people as well as 13 tonnes of medical and mining equipment.
Initially I was going to stay, but then when we heard about the Mercy flights, we decided to come back home.
Stuck in an apartment with 3 other people in New York. The hospitals are overrun. They're putting up field hospitals in Central Park.
The carrier will continue operating repatriation flights between Brisbane, LA and Hong Kong. It's being described as a game changer, the new coronavirus test capable of detecting COVID-19 in under an hour. Doctors say it could prove a lifesaver, but because it's so new, supplies are limited.
It's the first of its kind in Australia, a breakthrough in the fight against COVID-19, allowing detection and diagnosis of the deadly virus faster and earlier than before.
In terms of a rapid turnaround test, this is basically a game changer.
Launched in the US just last week, the nose swab is similar to existing screening, but it's able to detect the virus in less than 60 minutes and before the symptoms start to show.
The advantage of the molecular test is that we're able to detect someone who has only been exposed within 1 or 2 days of the virus.
The Emergency Department of St Vincent's is the first in Australia to secure supplies.
We really had to act quickly. It It really comes down to begging, bribing and stealing. Whatever you can do.
Because these tests are in such high demand across the globe, St Vincent's only has a limited supply. So for now, they will only be used for critically ill patients requiring urgent care.
There are some patients where the disposition, we need to know that as soon as possible, whether they should be in an isolation unit, whether they're fit to be on a general ward, exactly what sort of precautions we need.
And this isn't the only test being worked on.
We are exploring all sorts of new tests that are emerging and ensuring we have them in the right place at the right time.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
The pandemic is forcing hundreds of Victorian couples to put their wedding dreams on hold. But coronavirus couldn't stop spontaneous lovebirds from Melbourne's east pulling off their ceremony with just 24 hours' notice.
This probably isn't what most grooms think about moments before saying I do.
So I'm just trying to create a watch party on my phone.
But when COVID-19 interrupted Chris and Rebecca Cohen's special day, they opted for a virtual wedding, inviting friends and family to celebrate via Facebook.
Before we begin, I need to remind you of the importance of keeping your distance.
Rebecca's mother made the bouquet, her only bridesmaid a cousin in work uniform. Chris's mother became the celebrant.
Let's see how creative you can be with your toe taps and your elbow nudges.
Almost 200 e-guests watched on, some dressing up for the occasion, while there were messages from loved ones.
Granny and I wish that COVID-19 had never happened. Don't we all? Yeah. We wish that ScoMo and Danny Boy had not been forced to come down so hard on freedom of movement.
Before the moment they were all waiting for.
I publicly pronounce you husband and wife.
A big thumbs up from those watching at home, and for the few there, a new way to congratulate.
Thank you for everyone for coming and for your well wishes.
Sarah Jones.
Cheers.
Cheers.
7 News.
Cheers to them. An unidentified flying object has been spotted in the night sky over Portland. The golden lights appeared to dart across the harbour around 9 o'clock last night. It's believed to be part of a rocket launched in China in 2019 that's re-entering the atmosphere. Alina Saris joins us again for an early look at the weather in Melbourne. We've had mild weather, but a change is on its way.
It is, Mike. By tomorrow morning, it'll be very different out there. Temperatures are set to plummet. Today was quite pleasant, though. It dropped to 12.7 degrees in the city overnight and reached 22 this afternoon with a mix of sun and cloud. Out there now, it is sitting on 20 degrees and it won't be too chilly tonight, dropping to 12 degrees again. It was partly cloudy across the suburbs with some sunny breaks. Then these darker clouds moved in around lunchtime and they might have looked like they were going to bring rain, but they just brought really light showers to some suburbs. Temperature-wise across the suburbs, it got to 22 in Geelong and Werribee, 21 at Essendon, Watsonia and Cranbourne. Tomorrow turns wet, cold and windy. I'll have all those details after sport, Mike.
Thanks, Mel. Our health system under attack, how cyber crime gangs are targeting Melbourne hospitals. Plus, why intensive care units are being built with cardboard. The First Lady's urgent message to the masses. And the Marathon Man helping run up the total for the Good Friday appeal.
Hey, Melissa Doyle here, and I want to wish everybody a happy Easter. Share in the Easter spirit, just don't share your eggs.
Hi everybody, this is Shannon from Smith & Daughters here, and I'm really excited to welcome you all into my home so I can teach you a beautiful and delicious recipe that's super easy and super fast using mostly pantry staples. Now tonight we'll be making chubete en brodo. Let's have a look at the ingredients.
Canned chickpeas, chili flakes, radicchio, onions and garlic, chicken stock cubes, fennel seeds, chubete pasta, and any kind of white wine you have in the fridge.
Okay, those onions were a little bit spicier than I expected, but we are now going to come over to our stove, put it on a medium-high heat, and heat up some olive oil.
We're adding our sliced onions to the pan, and we're going to cook these over a medium-low heat until they begin to soften. At this point, you want to throw in a big pinch of salt. Now we'll add our garlic straight into our pan, along with our onions that have begun to soften. Next, I'm adding some whole fennel seeds and chili flakes. Next, we add in our chickpeas. So while our chickpeas are cooking away, we're going to get our radicchio. I'm just going to halve him and cut them into rough chunks. And we're going to put this straight into the pot. As you can see now, that radicchio is wilted down beautifully. We're going to get our pasta, throw it over the top. Now to add the stock with your white wine, just a generous glug. You want to add plenty of cracked black pepper. Put the lid on and just let it do its thing for about 10 minutes.
While the pasta is cooking, I'd love to use this opportunity to explain to you all that there is absolutely no lack of food and essentials out there right now. If you have a look in your local community, you will find restaurants and stores doing everything they can to quickly transform into your new corner store. There is no need to panic buy out there. Australia is full of some of the most beautiful produce in the world that we can all get our hands on.
Now to finish, season with salt, vegan parmesan, and some freshly chopped parsley.
And there you have it, guys. This is super healthy, really great for you. And I promise you that if you make this, you will make it over and over again, and it will be a part of your regular meals even after this whole nightmare is over.
There are new fears tonight that cyber criminals are taking advantage of the crisis by targeting our hospitals. Gangs attempting to extort millions could shut down frontline services and put lives at risk.
It's a blunt assessment.
My fear is that a significant ransomware attack will disable one of the major hospitals at a time when it's most needed.
That's set to send shockwaves through our health system.
And what will be the impact of that?
Lives will be lost.
Michael Connery is a hacker and cyber security expert. He says a major breach at an Aussie hospital is now just a matter of time.
It's going off around the world.
As opportunistic international crime syndicates use the coronavirus as cover in their bid to extract millions. The weaknesses come from a system bracing for a clinical onslaught, more focused on beds and medical responses. And with more people than ever working from home, remotely logging on to central health systems, our defences are down. Things are so serious, Interpol has issued a purple notice, warning of several types of financial fraud schemes connected to the ongoing global health crisis.
Many of the systems are antiquated. They're utilising old software to be able to manage existing applications.
It's not that we don't know anything about these hackers. In fact, in most cases, we actually know quite a lot, including names, addresses, and even how they structure these illegal enterprises. The problem being that many of these hackers are actually based in countries that don't have extradition orders with Australia, putting them well out of reach of Aussie law enforcement agencies.
Fending off scam emails asking for payments is now a daily exercise for our hospitals.
We have CFOs approving multi-million-dollar payments from their kitchen table. People have not yet got their heads around what tools are good and secure and what tools they can use and what tools they can't.
David Woywood, 7 News.
Intensive care units built with cardboard are becoming a cost-effective answer to treat coronavirus patients. The AMA says the design could help ease pressure on Australian hospitals.
A pop-up crisis wing housing hundreds. Cut from cardboard and assembled in minutes.
Using paper tubes and other products to turn any enclosed space into a ward.
Thousands of these shelters have already been set up in places like Japan.
Shipping containers, the shell of this rapid-build 40-bed mini hospital.
We wanted to create buildings that were structurally sound and could be rapidly deployed.
And ready to put together whatever we need, Team Rubicon, an army of volunteers made up of Defence Force veterans.
It's amazing what you can do when you don't care who gets credit for it.
Overseas, the virus has meant hospitals have had to spread too, and fast. Some cities like New York running out of hospital space.
It's really important that we look at all options, and this could include using spaces that have not been used before.
Australia currently has 4,400 ICU beds, including at private hospitals. The current target is 7,500.
And with 1.6% of those testing positive needing intensive care, the key to avoiding pop-up hospitals is keeping the curve flat.
Creativity ready to come to the rescue. Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
The Pope held traditional Holy Thursday Mass with big changes. There was no crowd and the foot-washing rite had to be abandoned. The pontiff held a shortened version inside St Peter's Basilica, where he remembered more than 60 priests who have died in Italy taking care of the sick in hospitals. Pope Francis says together with doctors and nurses, they are the saints next door. The First Lady has become the face of America's changing medical advice, urging residents to wear masks.
Face coverings in public settings where social distancing measures can be difficult to maintain, such as grocery stores and pharmacies.
President Trump, though, has already said he doesn't think he'll wear one. The pandemic didn't stop a Mordialloc man taking extreme measures for the Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday appeal. Helped by his family in self-isolation, Jim Poussard ran an entire marathon around his home.
Our maddest marathoner. No virus lockdown stopping Jim Poussard running 42 kilometres to raise money for the Good Friday appeal.
Go Jim!
Woo! An 80-metre course past the clothesline, the Barbie, the veggie patch, through the garage, time after time after time.
We have to do 528 laps.
88.
So, Susan, is your husband nuts?
Yes. Absolutely nuts.
And as if to confirm that...
No, I'm enjoying it. It's good fun.
Jim's daughter, Georgia, now 9 years old. At 9 days old, a heart operation at the Royal Children's saved her life. And that's why he's putting himself through this ordeal.
I love how he is doing it to give back to the hospital and how he's doing it running, because he loves that.
Normally, Jim runs a marathon in 4 hours. Today, it took 6.
No, it is hard when you're just going around in circles.
Jim's neighbours understand. Crazy feats help us get through crazy times. Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Good work, Jim. And Peter Mitchell and Jane Bunn are hosting a special edition of the Good Friday appeal. It's coming up straight after the news. Up next, busted at the border, how police uncovered a 100-kilo drug haul at a coronavirus roadblock. Plus why treatment for breast cancer patients is being fast-tracked. The Australian pub choir going global from the couch. And why lockdown feels like sand through the hourglass for these Hollywood stars.
Missing the footy? You betcha. Well, 7 Mate has got you covered. We're opening up 7's Footy Vault to bring you the best matches of all time. Every Friday and Saturday. Which classic matches will be dusted off for 7's Footy Vault? Tonight on 7 Mate.
We're there for the surprise. And beneath your grandkids' favourite dinner. Since we lit Australia's first gas street lamp, we've been finding ideas for tomorrow. You can't always see us, yet we're there. The energy within. AGL. Progress for life.
What do I need to start banking online?
With Westpac, it's so simple. Just have your bank details handy, answer a few security questions, set up a password and enter your contact details. Search Westpac Register.
Pay less every day at The Good Guys. Online offer up to $100 store credit on selected portable appliances. This DeLonghi coffee machine $7.99. This air fryer $4.29. This DeLonghi coffee machine $8.88. Only at The Good Guys.
Reason. From the moment we're born, we're conditioned to find it. Why does it feel good to dance? Why are we drawn to the water? We're consumed by a need for explanation. But some things just defy rational sense. When you move beyond what's known and into what's felt, you don't need a reason.
Men over the age of 45 are at the highest risk of drowning in Victoria. Don't just look out for others. Know the conditions, know your limits. Authorised by the Victorian Government.
This Easter, enjoy Ferrero Rocher, a whole hazelnut, creamy chocolate, crisp wafer and roasted hazelnut pieces. Unwrap Easter with Ferrero Rocher.
Tyre Power is open for business, helping the essential services and the community. Each Tyre Power family business knows how important trust, reliability and safety are right now. So if you need to be on the road, call Tyre Power on 13 21 91.
Everyone knows Volkswagen drivers expect a little more.
Volkswagen.
Not all frontline staff work in hospitals. Supermarket workers are doing their very best in very difficult times. They're trying to do the right thing by all customers. Please be patient. Please be respectful. No one deserves a serve.
A border checkpoint has helped police stop a Sydney man accused of trying to smuggle almost 100 kilograms of cannabis into Queensland. The search uncovered drugs worth more than $400,000. The 31-year-old has been charged with possession and fined for breaching lockdown restrictions. Australians have been told to stay at home, but for those undergoing cancer treatment, it's a matter of life or death. Doctors are now delivering fewer and larger doses of radiation therapy to reduce the risks of infection.
With the medical world racing to find a vaccine for COVID-19, Australian doctors are working on their own remedy, easing pressure off our hospital system and keeping cancer patients safe.
Really important that we've adopted strategies that keep caring for patients.
A new therapy treatment plan delivering a higher dose of radiation, resulting in fewer appointments and less time in hospital.
You have an amazing team of professionals around you that you can ask questions to, that will give you practical advice.
Figures show 20,000 women were diagnosed with breast cancer in Australia last year. They accounted for 14% of all new cancer cases. That's 53 new cases a day. With so much uncertainty surrounding the pandemic, just imagine battling a life-threatening disease such as brain cancer.
This brings a new level of fear and anxiety.
But treatments are still available, so are the support networks.
Sometimes just being able to reach out and talk to people in a similar situation can help people to not feel quite as alone.
Australian doctors are working with their Spanish counterparts, and that's because Spain is 2 weeks ahead of us when it comes to learning from COVID-19 and adapting to the situation.
Stay strong, take care of yourself.
Leonie Ryan, 7 News.
A David Bowie classic is helping an Aussie couch choir go global. They're part of a growing wave of people fighting back against the loneliness of social distancing.
Like any great concept, this one starts simply, softly. Building as more members join. Before a stirring crescendo has a detached global crowd of 6,000 singing as one. Cue the goosebumps in a tribute for health workers around the world. pub choir was wildly popular before the world retreated to its living rooms. But Brisbane founder Astrid Jorgensen adjusted the concept, digitally stitching together thousands of solo performances from police to prime ministers.
It's kind of nice to sing to them for being heroes, but also we can be heroes if we just stay inside.
All alone, all together. Now it's not just COVID-19 going viral. Laura Dimmick, 7 News.
A great idea. And with Hollywood studios shut, a trio of celebrities have created their own spoof soap opera, The Longest Days of Our Lives.
I've cheated on you. How could you? With your brother.
Alejandro, I don't know anything about this.
Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig and Jimmy Fallon are the stars of the social distancing-inspired soapy. Gee, it does feel like the longest days of our lives. Sport is next with Jackie Felgate. And Jack, it seems like Charlie Curnow's knee injury has dragged on just as long as that soap.
Very true, Mike. Yes, the Blues poster boy has spoken of his difficult road to recovery. But there's finally some light at the end of the tunnel. Plus, why Scott Pendlebury is about to find out if blondes really do have more fun. The embarrassing revelation which could halt the NRL's plans for a restart. And desperate times call for desperate measures for Adam Scott.
Join Peter Mitchell and Jane Bunn and celebrate the amazing work the Royal Children's Hospital is doing for our kids. The Good Friday Appeal Special, next on 7.
Meaning. We search for it our entire lives. The meaning in our existence. Work. Beliefs. Relationships. We're consumed by a need to find it. But it's when we stop searching and start feeling. Suddenly it's there.
Discover your connections to the men and women who served our country. Learn how old they were and the battles they fought. Connect with the people and places that led to you. Start searching for free at anshistory.com.au.
Spending plenty of time at home this winter? Act now! Beat the rush! Don't be left out in the cold! Buy direct from Australia's largest manufacturer of gas log fires. Heaters starting at just $2,499. Illusion. Feel the fire. Dandenong, Epping and North Geelong.
Head to Macca's fast, contact-free drive-through if you need a little comfort. And get a 100% Aussie beef hamburger for just $1.50. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
BHP is accelerating payments to all our Australian small business suppliers so they're better able to support their businesses and their employees during these difficult times. For more information, visit bhp.com/vital resources.
Happy Easter! 2 MS Dream Home Lottery Grand Prize winners will each get to choose a $1.5 million home or $1.5 million in gold for a nice little nest egg. Get your tickets today.
Robert is just one of the people we'd like to thank for digging deep during COVID-19. Thanks Roger for clocking up the Ks, Aileen for moving heaven, earth and eggs, and Chris for restocking round the clock. Thanks Rachel for somehow checking out faster than usual. And Emily for looking out for others. Thanks to every Aldi business partner, employee and shopper. Your good makes a big difference.
Light up their afternoons with the awesomeness of puffed rice. Try bite-size LCM's poppers.
Welcome back. Carlton star Charlie Curnow says his injured knee finally feels normal again after multiple rounds of surgery. And Curnow is confident he can return later this year.
Cleared to train by his surgeon, self-isolation and injury has given popular blue Charlie Curnow a new appreciation for footy.
I haven't played for it's almost been a year now. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back out there or at least just training.
training would be nice.
Call it bad management or bad luck. Curnow suffered ligament damage in round 15, dislocated his kneecap playing basketball in October, requiring surgery, fracturing the same kneecap, slipping on stairs at home, needing further surgery in November.
They put a pin in my knee also, and then in the second injury, they had wires wrapped around my kneecap to mould it back together. So it was both a bit of a process. They took both of those bits out.
It means Curnow can use his makeshift farm gym and visit Carlton's physio once a week. But it's not completely clear if he'll play this year.
So I'm not too sure when that's going to be, but you know, a lot of people have said different time frames, but yeah, all I can really say is tracking really well. So look, I'm hoping to play footy this year.
And while Rugby League controversially plans to restart with players based and living at home, it's understood the AFL still thinks a quarantine hub model is safer. The league pushing ahead with investigations late this week. Tom Brown, 7 News.
The hope footy will return by the middle of the year is helping get three-time premiership hawk Liam Shiels through the shutdown. The veteran midfielder also has a plan to get kids off the couch while improving their footy skills.
Liam Shiels admits he's just like all of us during lockdown.
Started painting the house last week, so that's keeping me busy. You know, I bought a couple of puzzles. I'm trying to stick away from the Netflix and the PlayStation for the time being.
The star midfielder is hopeful footy will be back by the end of May.
I'm lucky I've got Jared Ruffhead, Isaac Smith, James Frawley living in the same suburb as me, so I can scoot down to the park with them and have a kick and a catch.
And he's got a plan to keep our kids healthy and fit. The three-time premiership hawk normally runs a school holiday clinic for budding AFL stars.
And on the follow-through, catch our fist.
Young fans can instead join up online.
Back up around our hips, around our head.
Kids love to play PlayStation and things like that nowadays, but you know, it's extremely important that they can get outside and, as I said, breathe in some fresh air.
And learn a few secrets along the way.
A few drills that they haven't seen at local footy before that, you know, I've taken from Hawthorn.
Sports physio Kathleen Pettifor says regardless of the lockdown, children need 60 minutes of moderate to high intensity exercise every day.
Sometimes hearing the voice of your football hero encouraging you to get outside can be a little bit more motivating than the voice of one of your parents.
To sign up for the clinic, head to cuzzyperformance.com.au. Jacqueline Felgate, 7 News.
The NRL has been left with egg on its face after the New South Wales Health Minister revealed he hadn't even been consulted about the competition's plan to restart on May 28.
The NRL came to see me about a month or 5 weeks ago, and there have been no further discussions. If the NRL want to go ahead, happy to have the chat and make sure with medical advice as to whether or not it's appropriate.
The NRL insists it continues to remain in touch with government officials at state and federal level. Adam Scott admits he's still getting used to spending what would have been Masters Week in isolation. The 2013 champion has returned to his home in Queensland, but he's still able to work on his short game.
I've got a putting mat in my garage that you would probably call desperate if anyone had it, so it's quite funny that that's been getting some use.
Scott says he'll need at least 2 weeks to prepare before returning to competition once golf does restart. The Wendy Roach-trained Natoya continues its junk food diet ahead of a tilt at back-to-back Group 1 wins.
Bacon and egg toasted sandwich with 2 sauces. She bites, she kicks, she eats pizza, she drinks beer. We tried to turn her into a lady after the Doncaster and that failed.
Champion jockey Glenn Boss will ride the Doncaster Mile winner in the Coolmore Stakes at Randwick tomorrow. And Collingwood captain Scott Pendlebury could be in for a new haircut this Easter after a bet with Jordan De Goey. The Pies skipper says he will dye his hair blonde if an online poll reaches 10,000 votes. So far, it's up to 11,000, so Pendles might need to get the peroxide bottle ready. Mike, it might be a bit of a home job given that it's very hard to find a hairdresser at the moment. And the footy never stops here, of course, at 7. Matty Richardson is opening the footy vault for one of the greatest games ever played. It's all coming up on 7 Mate at 7:30, Mike.
Thanks, Jack, and good luck to Pendles too. Melina is next with the forecast, and Mel, a change is moving in.
Mike, tomorrow is best spent inside. It's turning cold, wet and windy. I'll have all the details next.
Tonight on the latest from 7 News, the road to recovery. We hear from the doctors pushing to lift Australia's restrictions after just 6 weeks.
And a former Queensland police officer home from hospital after COVID-19 nearly claimed her life. She joins us tonight.
That and every breaking development on the latest from 7 News at 8:30.
Rack of lamb reinvented. Fast Ed's simple secret to add massive flavour.
Really, really straightforward.
New Better Homes tonight.
Not all frontline staff work in hospitals. Supermarket workers are doing their very best in very difficult times. They're trying to do the right thing by all customers. Please be patient. Please be respectful. No one deserves a serve.
At Harvey Norman, our spacious stores are open this Easter, with our team practicing social distancing to keep our community safe. Shop for fridges, freezers, washers, air purifiers, laptops, Wi-Fi, headphones, home office accessories, mattresses and sofa beds. Until Easter Monday only, take advantage of 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card. Visit us in-store or shop online from home, with both click and collect and delivery available at Harvey Norman. Wishing you all a happy and safe Easter.
Go! In these challenging times, we know how important it is to keep you and your community up to date. So we're giving you 4 weeks free digital access to news you can trust. Search Herald Sun offer.
I love you.
Thank you.
Did someone say KFC?
There's an unspoken promise between you and your pet. A promise to always be on their side, as well as by it. To never keep them waiting. To care for them like they care for you. And a promise to make them as happy as they make you. At Pet Barn, we'll help you keep that promise. Because our stores are open for your essential pet care needs. Including zero contact click and collect. And home delivery. Pet Barn. See website for opening hours.
Tic Tac, refresh every little moment.
You may not hear from your lawyer at the best of times, but during the coronavirus crisis, it could even get worse. At Carbone Lawyers, we've adapted with video conferencing and expanded call centre to ensure your claims keep moving. Call Carbone Lawyers on 1800 369 888 today.
Join Peter Mitchell and Jane Bunn and celebrate the amazing work the Royal Children's Hospital is doing for our kids. The Good Friday Appeal Special, next on 7.
Hello again. We've had a mild autumn day, but tomorrow turns cold, wet and windy. After dipping to 12 overnight, the city made it to 22 this afternoon. And outside now, it's still sitting on 20 degrees. It was partly cloudy right across the state with moderate to locally fresh north to northwesterly winds. The northeast had some light scattered showers, but they were very light everywhere else. Temperatures were pretty close to the April average, mostly ranging between 19 at Ballarat to 23 at Orbost. On the satellite, a cold front will reach Western Victoria late tonight before sweeping through the remainder of the state during Saturday morning. A vigorous cold and unstable southwesterly airstream will follow that, so temperatures will plummet across the state tomorrow. Then a high pressure system will cross waters south of the Bight on Saturday, and that will sit just to the southwest of Adelaide on Saturday night. Around the nation tomorrow, mostly sunny and 31 in Brisbane, becoming windy in Sydney, 26. An early shower or two in Adelaide, 19 there, and very hot and sunny in Perth, up to 37 degrees. But in Victoria, scattered showers will move in over southern and mountain areas. They will become widespread just over the east during the day. Isolated thunderstorms and small hail are also possible right across the south. Those thunderstorms will clear the east and showers will become isolated from the west during the afternoon. It will be cold enough for snow on our our alpine peaks. Just 4 degrees at Mount Buller. With fresh to strong and gusty southwesterly winds, it will feel chilly right across the board. Just 12 in Ballarat, 16 at Bendigo. That cold front will enter southwest Victoria late tonight, moving rapidly east early tomorrow, and that'll bring strong winds across southern Victoria on Saturday. So this severe weather warning has been issued for damaging winds. Locations which may be affected include Warrnambool, Ballarat, Geelong, Melbourne and Traralgon. The suburbs can expect showers tomorrow morning. They are less likely by the late afternoon. There's also the chance of a thunderstorm. We could have gusty winds and possible hail. Mostly 15 and 16 degrees across the suburbs tomorrow. Those showers will reach the city and winds will pick up as well, dropping to 12 before a top of 15 degrees. And Easter Sunday is cloudy and 16 degrees, partly cloudy, 18 on Monday, 23 and partly cloudy on Tuesday. Wednesday is up to 25 degrees and so is Thursday as well. Only a shower or two is expected then and a possible shower on Friday, but quite chilly and wet in the city tomorrow, just 15, Mike.
That'll keep us indoors. Thanks, Mel. And that's 7 News. Up next, Peter Mitchell and Jane Barn are hosting a special edition of the Good Friday Appeal. The tally is heading towards $6 million. Have a great night.